Tirzepatide side effects, when to run out and when to keep on going. Hi, beautiful friends. I'm Elizabeth, Countess of Shopping. I've lost over 108 pounds the last 2.5 years, more than 2.5 years, of being on tirzepatide injection, Zepbound, and Mounjaro injections. Not at the same time. The variation of those over the years is because of the shortage. And my experience, strength, and hope on this video is to hopefully help encourage you, because most people stop taking GLP-1 medication because of side effects. Also the financial piece with insurance, but predominantly one of the biggest reasons is because of side effects. So I want to arm you, educate you, whether you are going along at the beginning of starting Zepbound or you've titrated up a dose like I did, for example. When I hit Zepbound 15 milligrams, I had new side effects I had never encountered. So we're going to talk about all of that today to arm you to be well prepared and have solutions ready that will work for you. As always, I am not a healthcare provider, simply my experience, strength, and hope of somebody who's crushed it in a good way. Of like, I used to be morbidly obese and now I'm doing things like weight training. It completely changed my life as a result of Mounjaro and Zepbound. And I love sharing about it. So always talk with your own healthcare provider. I did mention about when to write it out and when to worry and when to not worry about it. When I was on the Oprah show for the Shame, Blame, and Weight Loss Revolution a year plus ago, one of the doctors on there from the Cleveland Clinic had mentioned about less than 1% of Zepbound side effects and Mounjaro side effects are the really serious ones. We hear in the media about those less than 1% serious ones, and you need to be well aware because it affects thousands of people on medication. But I want to view it in the way that I have viewed my weight loss journey, from being over 300 pounds now to lifting weights and doing great things with my life. The 100+ pound weight loss journey is I'm going to be aware, but I'm not going to live in fear, right? I'm going to know what they are. And the serious ones are like appendicitis, pancreatitis. There's a thyroid cancer that's a familial genetic cancer that was found actually in rats. And so just being mindful of those, of things when to stop with side effects. But we're going to talk on this video mostly about the most common ones. The most serious ones are intense pain. You should not be feeling, and again, a non-medical person here, but knowing what it has felt like for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of days of being on this medication and experiencing all of the side effects, the not most common ones, is it should not be a sharp pain. It should not be these stabbing pains. It should not, that is not normal. When people in my free encouragement group, and I'll link down in the description, link my free encouragement group for you too. It's at countessofshopping.com/group. We talk about this a lot, of where people will mention stuff and I'm like, dude, you need to go talk to your doctor. That is a healthcare provider question. If it's serious pain, serious stuff, right? Or we're going to talk about nausea, for example. Most common that happen to most people are gastrointestinal, diarrhea, constipation, nausea, vomiting. I'm going to give you solutions for those. Nausea is super, super common. Vomiting, I didn't vomit till Zepbound 15 milligrams. And another red flag that I see of when to be profusely vomiting. I vomited 2 or 3 times. Of those, it was self-induced. Some of the, I was eating fried foods. And so fried foods and some sugary desserts. That did not settle well with my stomach, right? And it was about 48 hours after my injection for me is when I have my peak side effects. They diminish for me on day 5 because that's when half-life dose is. So day 5, day 6, day 7, much, much better for side effects. And we're going to talk about schedule planning around that. But with those side effects of having that nausea, that was self-induced for me, but the vomiting did not happen until I got on the highest dose. And so you may not see some of these side effects until you're on higher doses. It's always interesting to me when people are like, oh, I don't have really side effects. I'm like, okay. See how that fares for you when you get on the higher ones like Zepbound 10 milligrams, 12.5 milligrams, and 15 milligrams. For me, different ballgame in terms of the way that I feel. So that nausea component, for example, if you're profusely vomiting, that is dangerous, right? That needs medical treatment. For me, a little barf in the bush, I feel like that's back from my sorority days at James Madison University. A little barf in the bushes, that to me is not crazy. That I'm just going to keep on rolling and take the learning lessons. Okay, what were some of the common themes that it could have prevented this? Was it just the medication or was it partially self-induced with food choices? With nausea, if you are finding yourself, one of my really, really good friends, she's been on the medication now for 8 months. She looks amazing. If you're watching, you know who you are. She's lost a ton of weight. She looks beautiful both on the inside and outside. She always looks beautiful, but like that inner confidence, it's so cool to see it come out. She was very, very nauseous the first like 3 months. And I'm like, are you sure you want to titrate up dose? Like that's the other thing of like, if you're having more intense ones, maybe don't titrate up dose. But for nausea, literally, I would make ginger water. I used to recommend ginger chews. I don't recommend them anymore because of the sugar in them, but I will just take a hunk of ginger or and put it in just fresh filtered water and put it in a pitcher and sip on that. And that helps me usually with it. If it's more extreme, like I said, getting a Zofran type thing, a prescription anti-nausea medication. But ginger related things like ginger chews, but again, those do have sugar. I'll link those down below, but I don't take those anymore. I'd rather make a ginger water out of ginger. I find that that's very soothing for my stomach. There's also ginger capsules you can have too if you'd rather have that. But ginger-based products for me have been really, really helpful. Next, and nausea, by the way, is the most common. It's the most common side effect. Did you know that? It's the most common one. Diarrhea. That's probably not, now that we're besties, you've watched this far, we're besties. That for me is the most common Zepbound side effect that I get. When I first started over 2.5 years ago with GLP-1 medication, I ended up buying LMNT electrolytes because a friend had said that they were the best electrolyte company. And I was like, game on. I want that magnesium, potassium, and sodium. They do taste salty, which I very much enjoy. And also my body, I can feel it. And it has been so helpful for my side effects with diarrhea, constipation, nausea, vomiting in different ways that I didn't expect. Now I take LMNT because I don't really have intense. I'm going to talk about that. I did have a side effect 2 days ago that I was like, ooh. But now I take LMNT because I'm lifting and I'm working out, and it's so helpful for me with my workouts. But they have their sparkling cans, they've got, which I love in the summertime because they're ice cold cans, or their sticks. The sticks have in there, I typically do with one stick. I like to make them into either a third, a third, a third, or 2 halves and put 40 ounces of water and then like half of the stick or a third of the stick, and then sip on that throughout the day when I'm doing the stick. I typically have 1 per day. And the sipping motion for me when I'm having peak side effects is very helpful. Like I don't want to eat anything when I'm feeling nauseous, right? But having something just simple to sip on is very helpful. Now the salty taste on it, that's why I mix it with 40 ounces of water for part of it. You can totally customize this for whatever you want. Stay salty, friends. That magnesium, potassium, and sodium very much has helped me when I had diarrhea and things were getting pushed out, not to be graphic, but refilling my electrolytes, super, super important. Very helpful for me with my nausea of just calming my stomach, having a little something to sip on because I wasn't eating copious amounts of food. And for nausea, typically I would have the brat diet: bananas, rice, applesauce. Is it applesauce? Is that the other one? I typically don't have applesauce, but or toast. I would go to toast, just a little bit of bread in my stomach and then sipping on my electrolytes. With the diarrhea component, LMNT has helped so much. Now, they've been very generous to the Countess of Shopping community. They've given us free sticks with any purchase. You can go check that deal out at drinklmnt.com/queen, QUEEN. It's linked down in the description link below to get your free sticks. I am obsessed with LMNT. I sing from the bell tops about them because it's been so helpful for my side effects. But also with the constipation, because it has magnesium in there, it does help me stay regular. It's one of the tools that I utilize for constipation as well, to help. Then the other thing with constipation, honestly, when I talk in our free encouragement group, frequently with people, I'm like, okay, well, let's talk about leafy green vegetables or fruit or high fiber things. What are you having? And people typically are like, not really that many. I'm like, maybe start there. Like maybe start there of being super intentional to have a salad today or having a big portion of fruits and vegetables. I think for me, one of the things that I have really had to learn coming from a very disordered perspective with food, I mean, being over 300 pounds, that was not a healthy perspective with food. Having 3 huge helpings at one mealtime, not a great perspective with food. One of the things that I've had to learn is incorporating in protein, high protein, because we know that helps with muscle mass loss, with eating fruits and vegetables. And how do you do that when you're not hungry? Particularly if you've just started in a new dose and you're like, I'm not hungry at all, right? Very small, slow and steady wins the race. For example, my dietitian, I've hired on a new dietitian to help me kind of push past. I'm not feeling stuck, but I'm seeking guidance of somebody who's an expert. So I'm paying a dietitian for weekly accountability for me to help me like laser in on that. And part of that lasering in, she's like, you need to have protein within waking up. And when you have it with your coffee, it's whacking out my hormones with perimenopause and PCOS and hormonal thyroid stuff. Like I just have a little bit, even just a little bit of yogurt. So I had this morning, for example, I had some Faye yogurt. I had 3/4 of a cup and a little bit of chia seeds on it. Y'all, I couldn't eat it. I was too full. I had my shot 2 days ago. I am at peak appetite suppression. So I ate half of it. And I just put the rest of it in the refrigerator for later, right? Later on today, I'm going to be intentional. I'm going to go to Chipotle. You know what I'm going to ask for? Extra romaine lettuce on my Chipotle bowl. Now, you may not be going to Chipotle today, but while you're planning out your meals or your snacks, being intentional. When you're using, if you choose to use ChatGPT for your meal plan, I highly recommend that. It is so helpful to come up with meal ideas with that. I have a whole videos plural on it. Look at my playlist, click that like and subscribe and look there. But you can say, hey, I need to get 25 grams of fiber per day because that's what's recommended for people. It's a lot of fruits and vegetables to eat to get 25 grams of fiber. That for me has been so much of a learning lesson to learn that component. So with the constipation, going back to that, one of the easiest things I would encourage is, for me that's worked well, and again, always talk to your own healthcare provider, none of this is medical advice. One of the best things for me is simply like, oh, I just haven't been super diligent to have fruits and vegetables in my diet. Very much so. That has been very, very helpful. Indigestion, another super common gastrointestinal side effect. With indigestion, my tummy hurt yesterday. And it's frequently because what am I choosing to start my day off with? Now, I just told you, I've been starting my day off with a little bit of Faye Greek yogurt and a little bit of chia seeds, just a little bit. So it was not even a half of a cup. It was less than that. What is that? Like a third of a cup, just a little something to go with my coffee so my stomach's not empty. And that has been helping me with my indigestion. It's been very weird on Zepbound 15 milligrams to explain this to people, but if you know, you know. Where my stomach, it doesn't hurt, but it doesn't feel normal, if that makes any sense. And I know it makes sense because it's the delayed gastric emptying on it. Like my stomach simply does not feel the way around day 2 and day 3, because that's peak appetite suppression for me, and peak like side effects, and peak when the dose is like kicking in. It kicks in 24 hours to 72 hours is like when the curve goes up with it. And then a half-life dose on day 5, day 6, day 7. So I don't really experience this indigestion on day 6 and day 7, unless I'm eating something that's gonna trigger that, like a super, super high-fat meal. My husband, my hot husband, loves, by the way, I'm laughing. My husband and I were laughing last night. I was like, the internet knows you completely that you're my hot husband. And like, that's how people refer to you as, and I am here for it. He's on mine, ladies. But my husband loves a good ribeye steak. And so we went to Outback, I don't know, 2 or 3 nights ago. My husband ordered his ribeye steak and he had leftovers, and I had a bite of it later on and I was like, oh, ooh, 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 no, 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 no. Like literally afterwards, I was like, that was too much high fat for me. My stomach was like, so for me, I know for me, high fat can really trigger that indigestion. That can trigger that diarrhea. I've told the story a million times and it's super embarrassing on my part, but I'm going to share it for you. Hopefully you can take advantage of my embarrassment. Of literally all dressed up when I first started the medication, went on date night, got a steak, got a ribeye, which I'm accustomed, like I love ribeyes. I now have switched over to New York strip, or like a filet mignon, because I cannot handle the ribeye fat. It literally shoots right through me, and like so embarrassing. I almost literally pooped my pants on a date night. That, and also sugary things or fried things. Like I love fried mozzarella sticks. Oh my gosh. I wanted to do, have you guys seen on TikTok, like the cheese pull from Chili's, right? I believe in a treat every now and then. This is not every day, but every now and then. So we went and I was like, I just want to do that cheese pull thing from Chili's. Y'all, the way it ripped up my stomach was like, no ma'am Pam with those fried foods. It was like, I rebuke you in the name of Chili's cheese pull. Will not be making that mistake again. Although they do look, like, it looks really good. But for me, like, I know what my stomach can and can't handle. Did that happen like that for me on earlier doses? No. But obesity is a very wide hoop of different genetic factors that play into this, and other comorbidities and other things that play into it. So just because it, like, some people may have things that other people don't. And we have things like hyper responders, hypo responders, non-responders, and the normal responders. And so these different buckets of it, of you may not experience that, say, on Zepbound 2.5 milligrams, but you may really experience it on Zepbound 15 milligrams, right? And that's where I feel like more data, more information, as we learn more and more, will continue to grow with that information. Being tired and fatigued, definitely something for me that I very much have had to encounter, and I just take naps now. And I know that that is a privilege to say that because I work from home where many people don't, where you can't be like, oh, I'm just gonna roll out on my office couch over here at my job that I like commuted to, right? Like that just doesn't make sense. Or I'm gonna go sleep in my car in a parking garage that's like super dangerous in the city, right? Like that's not, like, we can't do that. So I understand that me being able to be like, I just take a nap, but, and I rework my schedule around, I know that that is certainly not for everybody with certain job things. Like a teacher, like you can't just do that. You have to be, you cannot not be like fully present, right? So the fatigue component of it, for me, that's where I moved my shot times around and my shot more so days around. I know I felt my peak side effects on day 2 and day 3 for me. Not really that first 24 hours for me. It's after that. Then for me, then I would take it on Thursday. Why? Because then I would feel those side effects then on Saturday and Sunday. That's me. That's me, right? You do you. Other people have different experiences with that, but moving that, and so how people are like, how do you move it? For me, I just slightly moved it each week by hours, chunks of the hours. I talked to my healthcare provider about it. I'm not just making that by myself, that decision. I'm asking my healthcare provider their opinion, and then moving the shot time a day, and that way then I could do it on Thursday. Super, super helpful for me in terms of the tiredness. I still have that fatigue, still. Now, part of that too is I am pushing myself physically. Like I'm doing these physical things that I was definitely not able to do. My knee's still cracking that. But so I am more tired because I'm working out more. The other thing I had is I would wake up in the middle of the night also. I previously had that. By me having more magnesium, that very much helped with that too. And for sure being fatigued, Zepbound Element electrolytes do not have caffeine in them. I'm super sensitive to caffeine. You guys can notice in my videos if I talk I talk quickly, but when I talk very quickly, it's usually because I've had more than 1 cup of coffee. And it's like off to the races. It's like, lasso to keep up. Okay, let's talk belching. There is sulfur burps of where you basically, it's like eggs, and that's what you belch up for some people because of the delay in gastric emptying, perhaps changing out your foods of what you're consuming. Tums for me very much have helped. I haven't had the sulfur burps. Thank goodness, by the way. That sounds awful, by the way, where you're just like, let me just belch eggs in your face. Say eggs. You're at a business meeting and you're like, of like trying to keep that under wraps and not having it stink. My heart goes out to people because so many people have, thousands and thousands and thousands of people have had sulfur burps. Being mindful of what you're consuming, because the delay in gastric emptying, that's where part of that is. And then also talking to your healthcare provider about it, and also like Tums. For me, I got very bad heartburn in some of my older videos, and still sometimes now, I'll get it where I have this like acid reflux of where I'm like, excuse me, I'm joking there, but it more so like an acid reflux thing. It was really, really bad when I titrated up to Zepbound 5 milligrams. It woke me up in the middle of the night. So carrying, excuse me, Tums with me when we were at Disney 2 years ago, I had just started the medication. I was like 6 weeks in or something like that. And I very much had that heartburn. So Tums was what I used. I used Tums. Hair loss. Hair loss is very common and normal. Why? A couple of reasons. And I've done a whole designated video specifically on that, on the supplements I take, the serum. Do I have the serum here in the studio? Yeah, there's a special serum that I take for my hair. You can see like my, like, this is, I have no, sometimes I have a weave in. I have no, I haven't recently, but because my hair's good, like, I'll yank on it. No weave today, and no weave recently. I used to use extensions to fill in, like clip-on ones. But the serum, and I'll link all this down below, the serum and then also the vitamins with it. I switched recently vitamins over to a different company for hair loss, and I like it that way because I can just put it into my protein shakes. It's easier than like pill format. It takes 3 months to see hair trauma, and that's what they call it with substantial weight loss. 3 months to see it. So you may not even know what's happening until you see it, and then you're like, oh my gosh. And then it takes 3 months to fix. So it's a 6 months around the world process of like start to finish, basically. So keeping that in mind, that for hair loss, it's because of more so like a lack of nutrients too, as part of that. So keeping that in mind as well. A lack of nutrients, and because like substantial weight loss, that can trigger that hair trauma. Heartburn, I talked about that. That also very much for me was very prevalent. And like if I had things like a tomato sauce with pasta, that burned later on. Like there's certain foods I just had to avoid for a little bit. And again, for me, it reduced on day 5, day 6, day 7, that half-life dose starting at day 5. I could eat more of those things, but definitely not day 2 and day 3. I had to be super diligent about what I was consuming for my meals with it too. So those are the most common ones. And again, always talking to your healthcare provider. They need to know this information. They need to know what's going on with you on your tirzepatide weight loss journey or Zepbound journey or Mounjaro journey. Those are all the same medications, by the way. The same medications. Zepbound and Mounjaro are, the active ingredient is tirzepatide. So, and if you're taking a tirzepatide compound like a GLP-1 GIP, keeping that in mind too of these side effects as well. And obviously, if anything is sharp pains, oh, that was the hair serum I was talking about for my hair. I put it in my hair to help strengthen it. It's been awesome. If anything is sharp pains, or if you're just having diarrhea, like that is not healthy, right? Like knowing when to cut it, of like, you need to be your own advocate of like, that doesn't feel right. It should not be these extreme things, and knowing your body and seeking wise counsel through your healthcare provider. So our accountability question day, what are you doing today to move you closer to your goals? Let me know down below. And our emoji of the day, I do emojis of the day to get to know you better because I care. And I do emojis of the day because it's my bat signal to pray over you. If you don't believe in prayer, uplift you in positive thought, but it's my way to get to like that pattern recognition of seeing your name over and over and over again, is a lightning bolt today. Lightning bolt. And so that's our pattern recognition for today, is lightning bolt, that you made it this far in the video. And if you made it this far in the video, I do really want to know you. I do really care, particularly in our free encouragement group. Go to countessofshopping.com/group. It's how I know in the group too. I'm like, oh yeah, like you guys are besties, right? Like you guys are my besties. Make sure you go also to get your free sticks with Element's been so gracious. You can see the discount and deal down below. Drinkelement.com/queen, QUEEN. With any purchase as well. My sweet friends, be kind to yourself, be kind to others. I'm Countess of Shopping. Count my blessings because life is delicious. I'll see you tomorrow, guys. Have a great day. Bye, bestie.